over Munfordville. So,
two distinct areas.
I think it's right in the center of Munfordville, maybe on the east side.
right.
Both could produce tornadoes. It's not good to be in Munfordville right now.
Yeah.
I was just looking at correlation coefficient on my phone's radar that I have, and it's not quite as pronounced
Right.
as a signature that was popping up. So hopefully that means it's not on the ground currently. It's been proven to do that, though. So
The problem
we need to
is
keep an eye on it.
you're getting too high in the radar beam right now. That is the problem. We're getting higher up in the beam. For it to show this much wind energy, Mallory, being that far from the radar, that's a nasty storm.
Yeah, yeah. So very, very strong storm that's rolling through Hart County right now. We'll watch to see its direction, if it's going to clip portions of southwestern Greene County and eventually Adair County here on its path. The rest of our area, the strongest winds are now pushing off to the southeast from there. We do still have heavy rainfall. As I mentioned, I'm watching any sort of flooding threat with some of these storms that are kind of building on the backside of this up near Breckenridge County and throughout Hardin County. So we'll have to keep an eye on that because you can kind of tell where those are streaming in from the northwest. That's an interesting feature there. So many flash flood warnings. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue to push southeastward with this strong main edge of the storm. That's typically where you see the strongest winds, right along that leading edge. And then unfortunately, that same storm that we're going to keep going back to with the rotation that we have in place.
So there's definitely debris now on the scan on the radar. Weather Service identified it.
Look at the velocity couplet.
It's very bad.
Yeah.
This will be on national news.
So this is moving through Hart County, heading toward 31 east, Hardyville. So you have 31W here.
It's not good.
Heading right toward Hardyville and continuing through Hart County, heading toward southwestern Greene County as we speak.
If you go higher up in the radar beam, it really shows it. So it's a couplet. So Munfordville, you only have about another couple minutes of this torture, this storm that's moving off to the southeast. And believe it or not, you're going to have clear skies in 20 minutes. Which is bizarre. So next target, next areas of concern is going to be where the three counties meet.
Yes.
Along Hart, Metcalf, which is out of our area in Greene County, and believe it or not, then into Adair. I think that we're going to issue another tornado warning. I don't see it moving hard to the right, Mallory. I think it's going to be southern Greene along Metcalf and then into the southern part of Adair if you want to give people a heads up in southern Adair.
Yeah, so this rotation that we're seeing very strong on velocity south of Munfordville. Let's see if we put this about 40 miles per hour.
And real quick, can I say this? There's a nasty storm that's west of Bowling Green that's probably got a tornado on the ground. So that would be south of Morgantown, just so everybody knows. If you have any relatives down that way, that probably is also on the ground. That is up there north of Auburn and northwest of Bowling Green. Just wanted to say that really quick.
So here's the latest track on this storm if it continues to go toward the southeast around 40 miles per hour. Center 5:18 Central Time, Beachville 5:27, Cork 5:32, Gradyville 5:41 Central Time, Bliss 5:44, and if it continues into Adair County from there. This always spans outward because it's trying to account for any kind of movement, which is why it includes Columbia, but it does look like we'll be tracking that in that kind of southwestern corner of Adair County as this continues.
Yeah, so I think Columbia, you may luck out. Yeah. Greensburg, yes. Edmonton, yes. So the three county seats, we've already had Munfordville. That's enough.
Right.
And then, it's got fuel. So if you're traveling down to the Lake Cumberland region, I wouldn't be surprised this goes on for a while. I mean, it's really it's 5 o'clock Central, which is 4 o'clock non-daylight savings time.
Right.
So there's a lot of fuel to work with.
A lot of fuel. We keep talking about the high amounts of moisture that we have in place, the high heat as well. So these storms aren't just going to encounter a hostile environment where they're not able to sustain themselves. This is the big downside of having a daytime event. We have so many nighttime events, but a daytime event, it's still tapping into all that fuel as it continues to march southeastward. So,
Yep. So Munfordville, the tornado threat has moved just on the east side of town. I know it's still raining, but it's just going to be raining for a very short amount of time, like less than 10 minutes.
yes.
And to give you a perspective on the environment that it's moving into, Adair County sitting at about 81 degrees with a dew point of 79. Very, very humid, very hot there. Do you know the approximate location of the Adair County
I really don't. I don't know that.
At least according to their map, it may be in kind of the north central portion of the county. So this would not likely hit the Mesonet site, but that shows you the environment that it's moving into. Very potent environment with very high dew points and very warm temperatures. So it's not moving into, like Mallory said, an environment where it's capped or anything. It's going to be allowed to be as strong as it wants to be, pretty much.
Right, unfortunately. That's what we're
unfortunately.
dealing with here, so.
Still showing debris.
Yeah,
So that would be, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles east-southeast of Munfordville, something like that.
And the National Weather Service expecting this to be a fairly long track tornado, which how many of those have happened in July in your recent memory,
None.
John?
July, I always tell Doug that July and August are our lowest tornado part of the whole year. This is quite bizarre.
What does that mean for the rest of the year, John?
Beautiful weather tomorrow and the next few days. I can tell you that.
Mallory, that hook is so pronounced. Can you zoom in on that? It's really, really telling quite the story.
yeah.
Can you explain? So we believe that you believe the tornado maybe have already moved through Munfordville. Is that correct? And
Yes.
What are we seeing? What is the yellow figure on there, along with the different red colors?
So this legend that you see on the top of your screen, those are winds that are heading toward the radar and away from the radar. And the reason why that's important, if you have storms that are moving toward a radar point and or winds that are moving away from a radar point, so winds heading toward, winds heading away, what that means is they're moving in opposite directions. And what you're seeing with some of these bright colors here, these pinks, this yellowish color, those are very strong winds. So not only are these winds rotating around each other, they're also strong rotations. So sometimes you can see rotation aloft, kind of higher up in the atmosphere. Doesn't necessarily mean that the tornado is reaching the ground or that it's producing a tornado. But anytime you have this kind of signature here, and as we mentioned earlier, we were watching something called debris detection or correlation coefficient, which compares basically raindrops to something like debris that would be lofted. That was very, very strong earlier. It does look like, did they just trim back, I believe, the edge of the tornado warning? I did see a change here. So Munfordville, you're no longer in that tornado warning, being that that has passed to your southeast, and this continues on its track once again southeast of there. So Munfordville, you have now been cleared since this is now, the worst of it is off to your southeast.